Welcome everyone to the Your Little Castle Show. We're talking about castles, right? How does somebody get involved into the real estate world? Owning a home, investing in properties, property ownership, three doors. Jim Manning is here with us, everybody. Going to talk a little bit about this. Well, Jim, welcome to the show.
Well, hey, thanks for having me on, and I get why so many people follow you and the Cardinal Cowboy. You're doing great things for the community, and just blessed to be here. So thank you.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. We are trying to get the word out and share with everybody a little bit about who is it that is making an impact on our community. And so we talked to your buddy Jason,
Yep.
and great work they do that was done there by HomeWays to make sure that people can own a home. You guys work together to help bring those properties to life. Is that kind of what happens here?
That's absolutely right. Yeah. So what Three Doors does is it advises homeowners on what all their options are. Your typical realtor might have one option for you, like, hey, list the property on the MLS. Whereas the reality is you can sell your property with cash as is. You can also creatively sell your home and create passive income. We had a client that sold her house a couple years ago, and she's made over $40,000 in passive income after she sold her house without any sort of landlord responsibilities whatsoever. So that's why we call it Three Doors. Is a door represents options, and we have more options for people than what a traditional real estate company might have.
Okay, yeah, because I mean, this real estate world can be very complicated. As a matter of how do you get into this, and who's going to walk you through the process, and how do you find the properties, and then how do you get the money necessary to put this, and you help make that whole process come together for people.
Yeah, that's right. And if to be a true fiduciary for people, like, you have to understand what all the options are. And so our process is we just like to sit down with homeowners and explain what all the options are, and then say, hey, no matter what you do, we're here to help you and walk down whichever door is appropriate for you. So,
okay,
yeah, it's been working out fantastic. We've been doing it for over a decade and a half now, and there's been over 3,500 families that we've helped right here in St. Louis during that time span.
You've populated a small town. I grew up in Fenton, Missouri, and the population there was like 3,400 people. You've done more than the population of Fenton. That's great, helping people own a home or invest in a property.
That's right.
To
absolutely.
enjoy that.
Yeah.
Well, tell me then, what is the process? Or I'm sorry, what led you here? How did you decide to get into this years ago? And you decided, okay, this real estate world is kind of fun. What led you here?
That's a great question. Thanks for asking it. So, what happened to me was I was working in corporate America. And it didn't matter how good of a job that I did. Like, I was pushing paperwork. 1 month I hustled, I worked really hard. My boss didn't know. The next month I slacked off, my boss didn't know. And I thought, well, there's got to be a way that's more, that there has to be a profession that I can help people out more and have financial upside at the same time. And I fell in love with the concept of investing in real estate, because if you buy a fixer-upper and you fix that up, you're literally making that little piece of the world better. And you can make good money doing it, and you're creating a home for a family. So when I, so I fell in love with that idea of I guess you could call me like a pragmatic altruist, like being able to have financial upside and being able to really help people at the same time.
Yeah, well, we talk about it. The number one way most people do gain some ownership or some equity or some value is their home, and so you guys are really helping to make that happen for people, because it's a complicated. We talked about it's a complicated world, and especially most recently, interest rates are up and properties are slim and hard to find.
Yeah.
But when you've got somebody has the history and background, you have not just being the real estate agent, but helping develop that whole project for somebody so they can become a homeowner.
That's right. And we start out investing in real estate, and investors really have one option for people too. They say, hey, here's your cash value for the home, and that's really about it. And we decided, you know what, let's put the homeowner's needs first, and let's educate on everything. And then our story is interesting because we were in order to flip properties, we had passive investors that would lend us money to be able to do the projects. And we built the business up. I think back in 2016 we did over 350 flips in 1 year, which was quite the feat. And what we realized then was, on the investing standpoint, is if you're just focused on income and flipping properties, it's not necessarily any progress to financial freedom or to building passive wealth. And so what we decided to do was get into a strategy called lease purchase and rent to own homes, which you've already talked with Jason, but with HomeWays, and that was kind of the start of it back in 2018. We started studying that model. Yeah.
Yeah, that seems to be a great path. I mean, as a matter of, I guess you guys are all working then to get together to make this come to life, come to fruition for people, so that they can own a home. Because how often do people, the credit's not good, the income's not there. I mean, I know as a business owner, you don't want to claim a bunch of income, so you're going to spend everything you can, so that you don't get taxed on it. Well, then it shows that you're not making a lot of income, and so then they say you can't afford a $400 a month payment. How are you going to afford a $1,200, $2,000 a month mortgage? But you're helping to make all these pieces come together for people.
Yeah, and you think about I want to do well while doing good, and one of the first clients that we had that we helped with home ownership was a teacher in a domestic abuse situation.
Oh, wow.
And she, her ex-husband was so controlling, she wasn't allowed to open up a credit card. No credit card means no credit score.
Right.
And it's hard to find a property to rent, much less own. Well, we crossed paths with her and we said, well, hey, we believe in home ownership. We believe in the American dream. You have money saved up. You can afford the starter home. Why don't you be a homeowner? Why you don't have to wait 10 years for your credit to rebound? Just let's open it up and start doing that now. And so when we made this shift into doing the lease purchase deals, it was quite the shift from just doing the turn and burn, the buy it, fix it up, and resell it for us.
Wow, yeah. So there's a lot that goes into this process, and you're getting to help people that otherwise, I mean, how often do people, they don't have the option to own a home, and now you're helping to make that come to reality, and so then they have a resource that, like we talked about with Jason a little bit.
Yeah.
There's a couple houses that my sister and I stand to inherit, but if my parents had never got into home ownership, these resources would not be there. We'd be fending for that, and that's what people need to have. That's the most valuable resource anybody owns.
Yeah, that's right. And the demand from this has been really high. Like there's a big portion of the market, that really craves and wants home ownership, and that we can help. And we so we started out doing these lease purchase deals just on our own without any partners. It was just Jason, Ryan, and I doing them. And the team started getting such a demand for these properties that it was outpacing what we could afford to do on our own. And so what was neat, so then how we solved that problem was we decided back in 2022 to bring on, it's called limited partners, but to basically open up a real estate fund, or some people know them as REITs, but technically it's a real estate fund, where we bring in partners that help us do more of these deals to help our community out. And so there's a group of us now that there's over 130 partners that we have that are helping us buy these properties, and then HomeWays finds our lease purchase tenants, and we're able to create a massive win for the community and a massive win for our investors too. Like the best thing and why people want to invest in real estate is the thought of passive income. So I had a conversation with my dad, and he shared with me that during COVID, he was afraid of running out of money before he died. And I don't know about you guys, but if you've ever had a conversation with someone like that, it can take your breath away. And this was my best friend, right? And the reality is, I said, well, Dad, like you and Mom, I'm upper middle class. Like Mom's a teacher, you're in IT. We lived we didn't go on lavish vacations. We went to the Lake of the Ozarks every summer. Like, what are you talking about? And he said, well, I'm a self-made millionaire, and I've done everything the financial industry's taught me to do. I've saved my money, I put it into the stock market, but inflation's kind of going crazy. The stock market's going up and down, and I have all this uncertainty. Your mom, my parents have been talking about going to Europe for 10 years on like a bucket list vacation. It's like, I don't think we can afford to do it. And so as I'm sorting through this uncertainty that he was having, because when you're only invested into the stock market and the traditional vehicles that the financial industry will tell you, like Like if inflation happens, if the economy has a recession, if another war happens, like there's so much outside of your control. Whereas real estate investing, it allows you to diversify out of all of that. And then it becomes simple. It's like, well, you have a house, someone needs to live in it. And as long as they're paying you every month, like you get passive income that can come from it. And so I thought about the demand that we had from people that were helping with HomeWays, and then people like my dad in that situation. That God bless my dad, but he is not equipped to be a professional landlord. He is one of the nicest human beings you'll ever meet.
Right.
And real estate investing, if you're doing it on your own and you're trying to do it actively and figure it out when you're not used to doing it, is a lot of work. And we hear online, or we hear people, these investment gurus talking all the time about how passive it is. Well, there's nothing passive about finding a property, negotiating the deal, getting it under contract, buying it, figuring out who the lender is going to be, or if you buy it with cash, and then finding the property manager, managing a construction on the project, managing contractors, right. And the list goes on, right? And so we have a really quality team that can do all of the work. And then HomeWays and the demand from that was outpacing what we could do on our own. So even though we'd been investing for over a decade and a half on our own, and we had already done over 3,500 deals, we in 2022 at the end of it, we decided to bring on investment partners and create a truly passive option for them where they can invest and receive passive income from their couch without doing any of the work.
Wow, yeah. As a matter of resources, when you're buying properties, the bank's going to say, who's backing this? What kind of money do you have to put down? And so you need some investors to help you with this. So these are people just said, make it easy for me. Here's a little bit of investment, and go out buy more properties to help more people.
Yeah, and then it's the community wins, our investment partners win, and we win too, because we're able to do a lot more transactions than what we could have on our own.
Well, it sounds like you've got a system in place now where you can really make this happen. And so if you find the right property, put some money into it, might revitalize it a little bit, renovate a little bit, and then turn around and give a nice family a place to live. Is that how that works?
That's absolutely how it works. And it's really rewarding. Like when I had that pivotal moment in my life, talking to my dad about it. I mean, I was at the time about 36, and real estate investing has really blessed myself and my family and my co-partners as well. And I've been doing this a long time, guys. I mean, I don't know about you, but if you're doing something for a decade and a half, like, it can get repetitive and boring and a little stale.
Sure.
So it's been such a reward for me because I feel like it's a new passion, a new calling that I've had to give the gift of not only time but treasure for people, and to help solve the retirement problem. Because I mean, guys, if you think about it, retirement's not a nest egg problem. It's really a cash flow problem. I don't know how many days I'm going to live. And if I did, I would know that I need $10 million in the bank and 53 cents, right? But because I don't know that, I don't know how much money that I need to live the rest of my life. So it's hard to plan, and it's hard to know how big of that nest egg you need. But if you have passive income coming in, and your monthly expenses are covered, then it doesn't matter if you live to be 130 years old. If you have assets that are generating you income, it's going to work out for you, right? And the problem, though, is the way that most investors start out is they fall in love with this concept of passive income, and then they think they need to do it all themselves.
Right.
And they say, okay, well, I'm a doctor, or I'm a small business owner. I got a lot of money coming in. I really want this passive income. I want the financial freedom that comes with it. Well, I'm going to be the guy that finds the property. I'm going to be the guy that negotiates and do all this work. And maybe they're successful. Maybe they get up to 3 or 4 or 5 properties. But in order to become financially free in real estate, it takes a lot more properties than 5 of them. It may take 30 or 40 that you own outright. And so it's a tricky problem. And the good news, though, is that when you know how to be a passive investor, you can have someone else do all the work for you. So real estate there is passive income. There's truth behind that, as long as you have a partner that's doing all the work for you.
Yeah, I can imagine it because of my a little bit of my background and with regard to real estate. My parents have owned some properties.
Yeah.
There's just continued maintenance, and then what you need to do to make sure all the insurance is covered, and then when you have a problem with a tenant,
Yeah.
and I mean, it goes on, and there's just so much that goes into it. You're taking a lot of that weight off of
that's
the
right.
investor, and they're just saying you provide some of the resources with just giving us some investment, and we'll take it from there and do everything for you.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, we have a couple investors that have over 30 years of investing experience, and I asked them, I said, well, hey, you already know how to do all this. Like, why are you investing with us and our team? And the answer was, well, I have my portfolio exactly where I want it, but I want to grow my income. I want it to still continue to build, but I know that I don't want it to be on me, because if I buy another property, that's more responsibility, that's more decisions that I have to make. So if I can, then I'll take it and start to diversify in ways that are actually truly passive. I'm continuing to win and grow my net worth without me involved at all. You know, like it becomes an absolutely passive instrument.
Yeah, well, and passive income is the source of happiness. So if you can sit back and just let the money come in. The other thing many people may be familiar with is when you write a song or you have some kind of that these guys who've been on sitcoms and they replay hey, you can just sit there as with the work they've done up front. Similar fashion, work done up front, put the money in, but it continues to run in the background with somebody like you guys managing the whole thing. And then it's just an easy way for them to very passively make some income.
That's absolutely right. Yeah, it's you know, it's funny is like it took me a long time to figure this out, and I think part of the problem is in school, we're taught that like schooling is like all about, hey, how well did I do on this test? Did I fill out the bubbles right? Did I answer the questions right? And they call collaboration in many regards cheating, right? So like we're used to like having everything around us and centered around how well that we can do, but in the real world, it's not cheating. We call it teamwork and we call it collaborating, right? And it's a fascinating thing, and it's quite frankly something that really held me back and early on. Like I started out as an investor, I only did one deal in my first 18 months. And I thought that I had to have all the answers, and my ego really got in my way. I was too afraid to reach out to people. And I started studying an online course. You know, it was $1,000 course, and then I'd buy another $1,000 course. By the time I was finished with the second one, I had forgotten everything in the first one. And because I didn't want to be that guy that didn't know. I didn't want to be that guy that didn't have the answers. And that really held me back. The big reason why I'm here is because I eventually did start reaching out to other people. And I did start having people pour into me, and that's really why a big part of what we're trying to do here too is kind of pay it forward for all the help that we've had along the way too.
Yeah, a lot of people talk about the way they become most successful is by surrounding themselves with all the right people, and that's kind of what you get to do here. You're bringing a lot of the resources, people are bringing some of the investment, and just making this whole thing work. And if you have questions, things you need, the people that are investing with you, they're not just blind, uneducated or uninvolved with the background. They might bring some experience to this too to help you make this all happen, and you can bounce some ideas off them.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And so to me, what I've grown to is if I had a question or a problem to solve, I used to try and then research it, go online and spend a whole bunch of time on it. And now instead of asking how I can solve something, if it's a complicated problem, I ask, who do I know that has solved this already? And I work on finding the who, not the how. And that's made all the world of difference. It's helped us speed up. It's helped us help more people. And I mean, life's about our relationships. And a lesson that I learned as my first internship out of college, I worked for a self-made billionaire. And the billionaire, the first week, I'm 22, fresh out of college. And he's given me $1,000 bottles of Krug champagne. I'm chugging it because I was just out of college. Don't judge me, guys. But so advice to 22-year-old Jim: enjoy the $1,000 bottle of champagne, not like don't chug it. But and I'm riding on this guy's private jets. I meet his supermodel girlfriend that's half his age. And this guy's like wider than tall, right? And so as a 22-year-old. I remember becoming like enamored with this guy, like, oh my gosh, this guy doesn't walk on water. He's incredible.
All right.
And But then as I got to know him better, as the onion peeled back, I realized, holy cow, this guy's absolutely miserable. Like my parents are significantly happier, middle class family than what this billionaire was. And he's an entrepreneur that started the business too. So he achieved the pinnacle of business success, the pinnacle of financial success that you possibly can. And no one gave him that. And yet in the process, he gave up everything to get it. So like I believe that we should measure our success by what was given up to get it. And the only way, if we want financial freedom, if we want all the benefits of real estate, and let's say we have a high paid job right now, well, to add on another business on top of that, yes, you can absolutely become financially free, but at what cost? Like,
Right.
do you think if you have small kids, do you think they're okay with you saying, hey, I'll see you in 5 years because I'm going to go work on a property I just bought as an investor? And so, I mean, there's a way to have our cake and eat it too, guys, right? Like, but it involves us coming together and building relationships and helping each other out.
Wow. Okay. And there's a lot that people do have to say about you from a positive perspective. On the wall here, we've got a great testimonial that I want to share with everybody here. But tell me about this as I read this to everybody. There are 3 levels I require with all relationships, including business and financial relationships. I need to truly like the person, trust their intentions, and know they have the capability to execute on the objectives. Jim absolutely checks all the boxes. I am happy to call him a friend and grateful for the opportunity to invest with his business, as both me and my family are better for it. There's a lot being said there because there's a lot that went into this, I guess, but this is a strong relationship with somebody that really appreciates what you're doing.
It is, yeah. I mean, the Jasons of the world really get me up and going, and knowing that I can help quality human beings like him on the, give a great investment option. And the interesting thing about this, Carter, is like we're able to impact the community and do well while we do it. It's an impact investment, right? And I don't know why. Like I think like there's maybe it's because of like how the traditional financial industry works. Like if you invest into like an index fund, it's like a national, worldwide thing, right? And it becomes like my money's over here, and then my charity and my impact is over here. Like they're 2 separate things. And what we believe is like, well, no, you can make money while having an impact as well, and having an impact that in many ways helps the community as much or more than what many charities do. And I think kind of what Jason was hitting on there was like how good it feels to be able to not just be so segmented on, hey, I'm only investing for money's sake. Like I'm investing capital to gain influence, to improve the community and make a return at the same time. And we underestimate that. Like if you think about like Christopher Columbus, could you imagine what the world would look like if Christopher Columbus had French investors? Think about it. All Christopher Columbus was is he got a small group of investors. He got some capital.
Right.
It was just a few guys, right? And I mean, they were kind of some big fish for the time, right? But imagine like if that was like French, like, in the areas of the world, the languages that are spoken right now, if he had a different investor group, like what would have ended up happening? The whole world would be shifted and would be different. And when we invest just in the traditional way, the way the financial industry does, we're in many ways we're giving away the influence and the power that we can have to do good and to decide how we want to impact not only our community here locally, but even the world. And in many ways, like I think that's hopefully going to be the legacy of our generation, that we can kind of challenge how people are thinking about it, and not only go after good quality returns, but go after relationships and helping people at the same time.
Lots of great work we're doing here. This is valuable information. People can get involved with this. Tell me, what is one thing that you feel really separates you from all the opportunities that are out there with regard to investing? What do you do better? What sets you apart?
Yeah, I think it's the ability to find deals So like if you want to invest, because like it just depends on who you are, right? Like there's different people that really should be an active investor that are going out and investing into real estate. I myself was one of those. And then there's other people, whether you're a small business owner or a doctor or a highly paid salesperson in corporate America, that you're good at what you do, you like what you do, and you don't have any additional time. So what's nice about what we have built is that we have options and we have deals for everybody. And not only that, but the way we invest in real estate, because we're acting under the lease purchase model and creating passive income, it creates more certainty, more cash flow, and less risk than what a traditional landlord would take on. So we've really perfected it over the last 10 plus years, and created a way to actually generate good quality passive income that while mitigating the risk substantially.
There's a note to take, everybody. Less risk, better return, a little bit safer investment, so people can provide for their families and get some investment done to do so.
That's absolutely right. And like an example of this on like a deal that we've done, we had a doctor that was in a tough spot, and he ended up, before he moved into our home ownership program, he put over $30,000 on it on day one on our property, and then 3 years later he comes to us and says, "Hey, I want to execute on our lease purchase agreement, but at this point interest rates have gone up." So we said, "Hey, well, how about you keep us in and we'll give you a better rate than what you can get on the open market?" And he said, "Absolutely, can I buy down my rate?" And so he ended up giving us another $70,000. So we have $100,000 down from a person in our project, in our property. And now we're just cash flowing it. We're making about $2,000 a month on this deal. And the doctor that's in the property is ecstatic about it because he's winning and in a great shape. We're ecstatic about it because we have he's covering all the repairs and maintenance, and we're just making cash flow every month. And
go to the website, everybody. Check
yeah.
this out. You'll want to learn. Click the invest button. I'm going to pull up that for everybody so they can see that here. But if you would like to get involved and you want to learn more, do some investing, and find the properties that are available for everybody so that you can take advantage of this. Check out the portfolio and get involved with these guys. Great information. It goes fast when you're having fun.
It does, yeah. Thanks so much for having me.
Your little castle show, everybody. Giddy up.
Oh, hey, and one more thing. I almost forgot. Today is my daughter's 10th birthday.
Okay.
So Maddie, just want to give you a shout out. Happy birthday, girl. Can't believe how big you're getting. But oh man, I'm so glad I remember this. My wife would have. She's like, you got to give your daughter a shout out. So happy birthday, Maddie.
All right, everybody. Stay tuned for more. This is the Your Little Castle Show. Giddy up.